Hello YouTube, my name is Isabella and today I have a rather large haul for you again. This haul has been the collection of about 3 months. It just so happens that the last haul I posted was about like a month and a half ago. I mean, it doesn't look good, but it's not as bad as if I went crazy and bought them all within a month span. I have 2 unboxings. I have an Indigo one and a Book Outlet one, and the Book Outlet one I ordered like so long ago I have no idea what's in there. The first things that I want to share with you are actually the Harry Potter editions, and because I'm crazy I had to buy kind of all of them. So I bought all 4 of the paperback editions. They're all super beautiful too, by the way. There's the Ravenclaw edition, Slytherin, Hufflepuff, and the Gryffindor one. And because I myself am a Ravenclaw, I ended up buying the hardcover edition too. If there's anything to know about me, I'm a sucker for colored pages. I just think they're so pretty and they're like my bookish vice. Almost every year Indigo puts out editions of classics and they're typically pretty cheap. I was really excited this time because they stuck with the same like kind of color palette they did last year. I picked up Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I have already read this. I read this for school and I just like the color palette's really pretty, so I couldn't pass it up. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what this one is about. I also grabbed Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is possibly one of my favorite classics. I just really like the themes that it attempted to discuss. I loved talking nature versus nurture and what happens when people try and play at God, and just a fantastic book. A little bit slow to begin with, but I love it. And this one I haven't read, and it is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Again, super popular work, and I have a copy of it somewhere, but these editions are just so much nicer, so I had to grab it. I didn't realize how short it was, but I did try reading this a few years ago, and it didn't really hold my attention, but I'm willing to give it another shot. In the May box, we actually got 2 books. The first one is New World Rising by Jennifer Wilson. This is actually an Of Tomes book. Benjamin Of Tomes created his own publishing company, and honestly, I don't remember much about the summary of this one. I just remember that it is about a dystopian world, and that's all I know. I'm kind of really interested to read this because I've never read an independently published book, so I'm intrigued by it. The book that came in the Owl Crate was The Sandcastle Empire by Kayla Olson. Like, the world has fallen to shit. Typical dystopian premise. This corporation kind of like controls the Earth's resources and stuff, and so our main character I don't know if she takes a group of friends or meets a group of people. Our main character tries heading to this island called the Sanctuary because it's supposed to be one of the only like free places left, but then when she gets there, I think like weird stuff ends up happening. I've seen kind of mixed reviews on this, and I'm not like a thriller type reader, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this one. The book that came in the June Owl Crate, and I was so excited to get it, was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. This has been getting nothing but great reviews, and I agree, I have already read this one. Eliza and Her Monsters follows a girl named Eliza who is the creator of a very, very popular webcomic, but her identity is kept secret because she's still in high school, and then a boy moves in and he is the most popular fanfiction writer for her webcomic, but he doesn't know that it's hers. I just fell in love with this story. I think Thoughts on Tomes like sums it up best. And she says that this book is a love letter to fandom. If you love books, if you love something so much that you're in a fandom, you will like this book. And the most recent book that came in Owl Crate was The Gentleman's Guide for Vice and Virtue. And honestly, I kind of wish that I could have like recorded my reaction because I squeaked when I got it, just because I kind of put myself on a loose book buying ban, and so many people have been talking about it and raving about it, and I was just so excited that I have it in my hands. And this book is a historical fiction novel about a gentleman named Monty. Before he is to take over his father's like estate and stuff, he's supposed to tour kind of Europe. He goes with his best friend who he's kind of in love with, and his sister. I think he makes some bad decisions and like just kind of hilarity ensues. There is a male-male romance in here, which in a historical setting I'm thrilled to see. This next one is kind of has a story behind it. So one night I couldn't quite sleep, and so I decided to just like enter Goodreads giveaways of books that I knew or was interested in. And because it was really late, I was tired and I wasn't really paying attention too much, so I entered a giveaway for a book that I thought was a different one. And I ended up winning. I won The Reign of Serpents by Eleanor Herman, and this is the third book in a series that I have not read. It is the Legacy of Kings series, and I've heard nobody talking about the series whatsoever. I thought I had entered a giveaway for Evelyn Skye's book, like The Crown's Game or The Crown's Fate, one of those, but nope, it was this one and I won. So not entirely sure what to do with this. I think I'm going to give the first book a try. I'm going to take it out from the library and see how I feel. This next book was like one of my most anticipated books of the year, and it is Because You Live to Hate Me, 13 Tales of Villainy, edited by Amory. And this book, super popular on BookTube, kind of because there's direct BookTube involvement. I just think it's such a cool concept to have booktubers involved in the process of a book and of an anthology, and it's an anthology about villains, so I love villains, and I'm kind of disappointed I haven't read it yet. I have heard that a lot of people like genuinely love the stories, but the booktube involvement isn't so much well loved. My thrift store finds in the past few months haven't been so great, but I did find 3 books that I'm very, very excited for. The first book I got was The Uncoupling by Meg Wolitzer. Basically, a high school teacher decides that they're going to put on the play The Lysistrata, and a weird phenomenon happens after that. Every single woman in the town kind of loses their desire to have sex, and it kind of just makes everyone a part of like a relationship reflect on their relationship and themselves. I don't know like everything about this one, but it is rather short, and I just got excited because I've seen Lala from Books of Lala talk about it, and also it is like in perfect condition, and it is $32.50 if I wanted to buy it in the store, so I got really excited about this one. The next 2 I found are part of a series. I found A Clash for Kings. Ooh. Clash for Kings in the like giant paperback edition, and A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin. And these are books 2 and 4 in the Song of Ice and Fire series, and I've been waiting for a thrift store to like have the nice big floppy paperback editions because I hate mass market paperback. And I don't know if I've said this on my channel, but I have read the first 3 Game of Thrones Song of Ice and Fire books, and I really did enjoy them. And I think it was like nearly halfway on the 4th one, Feast for Crows, and I don't remember why I put it down. But I've been intending to like kind of collect the series and possibly do a reread. The next book I have is Juniper Lemon's Happiness Index, and this was the Booktubeathon pick. And this book follows Juniper grieving the death of her sister, and how basically no one in her life really wants to like talk about it or acknowledge it, and she's just kind of like heartbroken. I did enjoy this book. I did think it was a little bit by the books. I did like what it had to do and say about grief. It seemed authentic to me. If you have recently lost someone, just take care, because there are like instances of severe grief and it might not be the right time for you. I nearly forgot to haul this one. I won another ARC from Goodreads. I swear to God, this haul and whatnot makes it seem like I win so much more than I do. But I won an ARC of Jane Unlimited by Kristen Kishore, who wrote the Graceling trilogy, which I have not read. But this one is very difficult to describe, and it almost is like a kind of choose your adventure story is the best way I can put it. Basically, our main character, her aunt dies, and so she travels to this special town because an old acquaintance like sends her an invitation to something. At one point in time, she is faced with a choice. There's 5 different outcomes that would result from this choice, and that Kristen Kishore actually goes through each possibility of like what could happen to her, and then I believe it kind of ends open-ended, and you have to kind of puzzle out which one our main character Jane actually chooses. And so it's really fascinating totally original, which is kind of hard to come by these days. This book I've been hunting for what feels like more than a year. I have the second and third book in the trilogy already, and I've been waiting for the first book to pop up on Book Outlet for almost a year. I didn't get it on Book Outlet. I found it in a used bookstore when I was on vacation, and I was so excited. And it is The Winner's Curse by Marie Rudkowski. Because I have been hunting for this book for so long, I kind of forget what this trilogy is about. I just remember that it is a very political YA fantasy. Main character named Kestrel, and I believe this fantasy world has absolutely no magic. So my first unboxing is going to be from Indigo. Right as I was telling myself that I was going to kind of put myself on a book buying ban, Indigo comes out with this deal where they had select like teen YA books, 5 for $25. And that's a super good deal, and I'm pretty sure that they might be like marked up, kind of like Book Outlet, but I didn't really care. There was one book in particular that I really wanted. So the first book I see is Another Day by David Levithan, and as I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure this is a sequel. Oh shit. I'm gonna have to look into this. I honestly have no idea whether or not this is a sequel or not. If you know in the comments, please let me know. Oh, here's the one I wanted. This was the one that I went out of my way to go do, and it is Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. When this was coming out last year, I was so excited for it, pretty much because the cover is just stunning. It's beautiful. I love it so very much. And the only thing I remember about this one is that it is a YA Western. From the synopsis, it says that our main character, Kate, decides to go on kind of like a revenge spree after her father was killed, and she disguises herself as a boy. So that's really exciting. The next book I grabbed was Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future by A.S. King. A.S. King is a very popular magical realism author, and this is my third book of hers that I own, but I have not read any of them. The only thing that I know about this one is that it deals with a girl who's grieving her mother's suicide, so clearly I would put a trigger warning for that, but other than that, I cannot remember anything about this book. Ooh, I forgot about this one. The next one I grabbed was Wolf by Ryan Grouded. This is a duology that I've been wanting to read for a long time. Wolf by Wolf is an alternate history in which the Nazis actually won the Second World War. And so our main character, whose name I forget, enters this motorcycle competition to actually meet Hitler, and because she wants to kill him. I'm very excited to have this one. Ryan Grouded is an author that I'm supremely interested in. And this last one, I kind of was like struggling to find like one more book to add to my pile to make it the 5 for $25. And so I guess I went with Breakaway by Cat Spears. And the only reason why I picked it was because it has something to do with soccer, and that is a sport that I've played my entire life. I played competitively until I was 18, and I currently play for a women's league, so I'm very involved in soccer, and I've never read a contemporary about it. I'm interested to see if the author actually knows what she's talking about, or if she's using it just to kind of have like a background to her book. Finally, at the last thing, I have my Book Outlet unboxing to do. It's been so long that I remember honestly nothing. Okay, so the first things that I see are the Grimm fairy tale editions that I really like. I don't remember what they're called. This one is Cinderella, or the Little Glass Slipper by Charles. Oh, maybe it's not Grimm. No, it's not a Grimm fairy tale. I just thought they all were. But I have the Snow White one over there, and I just love these illustrations. I think they're so well done. They are illustrated by Camille Rose Garcia. So I grabbed Cinderella, and then I grabbed Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, which I honestly didn't think I did get Alice in Wonderland because I own 2 other copies of it, and I've never read it. I grabbed the Queen of the Tearling. This is an adult series that follows a girl named Kelsey, is the rightful heir to a throne, but because of like, I guess, the political climate. She's been raised outside of like her kingdom and her castle and stuff, and it takes place in a regressed society, so it's set in our future, but society has gone backwards, and it's kind of a dividing series. Some people really love it, some people find Kelsey annoying. I also grabbed Tiny Pretty Things by Sona Charapotra and Danielle Clayton. This is a duology about dancers and like the gritty realities of what dancers go through, and like just like the crazy stuff that happens in a like super elite ballet school. And I think there's a lot to do with like mental illness, possibly eating disorders. Not entirely sure though. I don't remember any of these. I grabbed A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallero. I believe this is a kind of, not a retelling of Sherlock Holmes, but I think that our two main characters are descendants of Sherlock and Watson, I think. Okay, nearing the end. My God. I grabbed My Lady Jane by Brodie Ashton, Jodie Meadows, and Cynthia Hand. This book is a loosely based historical fiction novel about Lady Jane Grey. She most famously was queen for 9 days and then beheaded. Takes history very liberally and follows Lady Jane Grey, and I think gets like super weird, and a lot of people have said that this is really, really funny, and maybe this is the kind of historical fiction I need, because I typically don't tend to love historical fiction, but maybe if it's a hilarious kind of retelling weird type of book that I might actually enjoy. I grabbed Replica by Lauren Oliver, and this is like the book that you flip when you're reading it. There's two different perspectives. You can read all of Lyra's and then all of Gemma's, or like back and forth. All I know is that it's a sci-fi novel, and a lot of people seem to really like it. I'm pretty sure the sequel is coming out soon, or it did recently come out, and I'm just interested in the way that like this book is told. Totally forgot I ordered, but it is called Tales from the Arabian Nights, and it's translated by Sir Richard Francis Burton. This is an anthology. 20 very famous Arabian stories are collected into this. This is way cooler than I thought it was going to be. I thought it only had like a few stories, but it's got stuff like Sinbad the Sailor, Aladdin and the Wonderful Lamp, The Tale of the Fisherman and the Jinni, so really popular stories, and it's a lot chunkier than I expected it to be, but I'm actually really excited and interested in this one. So that was my pretty large haul. I absolutely am cutting down on my book buying. This is it for a while. I'd like to know any of the books that I showed you, which ones you're most interested in, or books that you really, really like. And I have to go find a place to put all of these books. So